Well, hello. This is my second time on the VoiceStory stage. I want to thank you, Matt and Winston, for inviting me back here again. I do see some familiar faces in the audience. Some of my team, family, friends, and my partner. I am deeply grateful for your support. My name is Vanessa Luu. I am the Marketing and Events Director at Janessa CPA Corp. And on the topic of curiosity, I am also the founder of Janessa CPA's annual leadership conference, Connecting Curious Minds. But aside from all of that, and more importantly to me, I am a woman. I am human, and I am a force of nature. How about some love for all the women in the room tonight? Okay. And how about some love for the men who aren't afraid to embrace their feminine energy? Your voice, your voice, your voice. It matters to me because my voice matters to me. You matter, I matter, we all matter. But without emotional safety, my heart and my soul, without physical safety, my mind and my body, I cannot hold my voice accountable. And in the process, I end up silencing the voices of everyone around me. It took me massive courage to become curious about the truth of who I am, because curiosity meant uncertainty, and uncertainty meant fear. But a secret between you and I, my courage used to come from a need for survival. What I was taught from my childhood was that women were not on this planet to thrive. They were here for three things: to rescue, to be rescued, and to suffer. This meant a few things for me: that my emotions are to be suppressed, that my body is to not be talked about, and that this is the reality of being a woman. Anyone here ever witness their family or parents fight in front of them? I don't mean just fight, I mean really get into it. Okay, I see some heads nodding, hands up. It's traumatic as a kid, right? Well, I remember being 5 years old, and I would witness this every single day, constantly, all around me. And every single time I would have my hands over my ears, and I would have tears streaming down my face, and I would be screaming at the top of my lungs because I just wanted to be heard. I wanted to feel like I mattered. But immediately following this notion would be the words of, you need to fix your face, and that this specific moment, this fight, is to never be talked about to anyone. I felt inferior to everyone around me, and that is including myself. So rather than embracing the strength in my femininity and the fierceness in my voice, I ran away from it. Because I didn't matter. So I did not find environments that would honor my heart and my soul, or my mind and my body. In high school, I found a relationship that would not honor my emotional or my physical safety. And I did not talk about this abuse. But I did find a way to express it. I took up acting. Acting became this catalyst for me, and I was indirectly expressing how I felt through another character. And I remember I was in theater class, and we got the choice to pick our own monologue. I chose the most dramatic monologue there was. And I remember I was standing in front of 25 of my classmates, and one of the lines went something like this. Okay, wait. So you're saying that I could stand here and I could end my life, and even then you wouldn't notice what is going on with me? My classmates, they thought I was crazy. They were like, why would you choose something so dark? But little did they know, and little did I know, I was just trying to express myself. I became so attached to this idea of projecting my voice through a character that after high school, I decided that I'm going to move to Los Angeles and I'm going to start a life there. And I do. I pack all my bags and I drive. And I felt good. I wake up to the sunshine every day, 30-degree weather. I hear the birds chirping and the water's always crashing against the rocks. And I get to end my nights with a party all the time. I felt like a damn independent woman. Wouldn't you agree? Well, it wasn't long before a situation mirrored to me what I had chosen for my life. About a month living in LA, I was dating this boy, and he was different from the previous guy, so I was like, this must be good. And I decided to spend the night at his house one day. And his friends are over, and they're having a good time, and I'm feeling really tired. I just want to crash. So that's what I do. And you know when you're falling asleep and you're kind of going in and out of haziness? Well, there was this one moment of haziness when I woke up. But I wasn't alone. My clothes were still on, but I could feel the weight of someone else on my body. And it wasn't him, it was his friend. You know when something happens so fast that the room is just spinning and you have no idea what to do, you're in full panic? I sprung up as fast as I could, and I did the one thing that I knew. I sprinted out of there. And I hid behind a pillar, and I was crying. And this boy that I was dating, he came to find me. And he looked at me and he said, Vanessa, you are being too dramatic. I was just telling my friends to go have some fun with you. He just told me that he gave his friend permission to my body. I walked away after that, and I locked myself in my car. And I sat there for 2 hours, completely paralyzed, not knowing what is my next move. But then it hit me. This was the first time that I had felt my body. This was the first time that I wanted to protect it. So I decided to put my keys in the ignition, and I was going to drive off, and I was never going to look back there again. After that moment, my love for acting began to grow very thin. and I moved back to Victoria, which is where I initially ran away from, by the way. And I realized that my existence had become so minimized by my beliefs that my lack of self-love actually manifested into the silencing of my own voice. I asked myself, why am I the way that I am? And then I made a conscious decision that no matter how uncertain the other side of curiosity would be, that I was going to stay there. And I didn't want to, but I needed to understand the truth of who I was. And as many of you know, when you become courageous and really want to know the truth of who you are, someone is going to come along and try to knock that courage right out of you. So I moved to Vancouver. And my first job in the corporate world was still a reflection of how much I honored myself still. I was told that I was incompetent, that my ideas did not matter, and that when I stepped into that office, my personal life is not of interest. So about 3 months into this workplace, a miracle happened, and I got laid off. Now, I say that with quotations because I know that they didn't like me. I was far too creative and energetic. I was charismatic. I was bubbly. I was loving, and I was fun, and they feared that. But I had no longer feared myself. Instead, I began embracing myself. So I started taking accountability in what I wanted for my future. I decided that I'm going to go to school. I need to take this next step. I started studying marketing and entrepreneurship at BCIT, and I actually became passionate about both of these things. I thought to myself, how can I create a platform that's going to connect communities, encourage creativity, and empower voices? I imagined an environment that would nurture the strengths and the creativities of individuals. So one day, I was presenting in a class, and this woman came up to me after, and she said to me, there is a position opening at Genesis CPA Corp, and you would be a perfect fit for the culture. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but all I know was that I was different. I was no longer there. So I needed to take this chance. I did. I jumped. I accepted the position. And this is important. Here's how I knew that this was going to be the right environment that would honor my physical and emotional safety. So a couple months into working at Genesis Corp, I was working with a couple of consultants. And I was fairly new in my career, so they belittled me, they condescended me, they told me my ideas were not going to work. And it felt like crap, because I had began to honor myself, and I knew that it felt wrong. So I thought to myself, what do I do now? Do I quit again? But I made a decision to talk to my team about it. And I told them, I was completely vulnerable, and I told them, this situation does not honor me. And this next step is crucial, because they took action to make sure that I knew that I mattered. So then I began taking action in my life. The next day, they fired the consultants. There was this bubble of fear around me, and it literally just burst. So now I'm in an environment that can cultivate my curiosity and my creativity. Do you remember when I said that I wanted to create a platform that would connect communities, encourage creativity, and empower voices? Well, I did just that. On January 25th, 2018, I created a networking event called Connecting Curious Minds. It was only meant to connect 10 to 15 people. And so my team and I were really excited. We're waiting upstairs in the upstairs boardroom, and we're waiting for people to come, and waiting, and waiting, and not one single person shows up. I felt so small at that moment, and I will never forget it. But the environment that I was in, not only did they welcome failure, but they knew that it was an important ingredient. What is curiosity without failure? It does not exist. So my team allowed me to go back to the drawing board. We reworked the entire vision. 6 months from January 25th, July 6, 2018, we are now standing in a 4,000 square foot venue with 150 attendees, 14 corporate sponsors, and 7 keynote speakers. This year, we are bringing it to the Vancouver Convention Center on June 7th. It's a platform called Connecting Curious Minds. It connects community, encourages creativity, and empowers voices. And you're all invited, by the way. When I was 21 years old, a psychic told me that, Vanessa, when you're 25, you are going to know exactly who you will spend the rest of your life with. I am 25 today, and I finally understand that that person is me. I am the woman that I always dreamt of being, but she was right here and I couldn't find her because I feared her. I thought that the journey in becoming me was about this fight against me, but it was actually a fight for me. Imagine, I am a woman. I am a young woman. I am a minority woman. But these are not the traits that make me weak or insignificant. They are my strengths. They are all of our strengths. Being a woman does not mean that you need to rescue or be rescued or suffer. My courage no longer comes from a need to survive. And imagine if your courage was finally the one thing that fostered your curiosity, and that your curiosity was what led you to your truth.